All right, okay, let's try and go back now to one of our analysts who we regularly talk to. And we were discussing that the counting down of the lockdown, some analysts are saying that it might be a relief for people to try and get back to work if they can. But the reality is, of course, the president has to weigh up just what is more serious, the life-threatening situation that the virus might have, or the cost to the economy. So let's turn to Owen Nkomo now and just get a sense from him what his thoughts are. Owen, we were trying to get hold of you a little earlier on, and my first question to you was, Bloomberg is saying that we could reach a 21 rand to the dollar exchange rate. It's at 18.76 at the moment, which is below 19. What does that tell us, if anything?
Thank you, Peter. The currency has been extremely weak over the past few weeks, particularly last week. We saw the rand moving all the way to about just under 24 to the pound. And this morning when we came in, the rand was trading at 19.35 odd. It's come back down to 18.77 at the moment. And I think it just shows how volatile the markets are, and that people don't know how to play the markets at this stage. But there is a lot of negative sentiment around South Africa, particularly if you look at it on a bigger scale. There is a lot of negative sentiment around the developing and emerging markets, because people don't have confidence that we can get ourselves out of any deeper recessions that might result from this COVID situation we're dealing with.
Are we going to feel it worse than other developing nations? I was seeing that during the course of the last few months, that sometimes, they talk about developing nation, risky assets and things like that. And South Africa seemed to get bitten a bit more than the other nations. Is that what's going to play out as well with our currency?
Yes, that's already playing out, Peter, and for particularly two reasons. The fact that the rand is the most liquid currency in the emerging market space. And the second reason is that we've got a lot of problems in our background, a lot of problems in the country that we have to deal with. Already before the COVID-induced slowdown in global growth, South Africa's GDP was being permuted to come in at 0.5%. Right now, anything between 3% and 5% or higher than that in terms of a decline is the case. So I do think we'll take a bigger branch of the losses, and particularly because we're used as a proxy for emerging markets currencies. We always get sold off the most when there's a move on the emerging market currencies.
And the other thing that we've been seeing, big swings on the JSE. You actually don't know what you're going to get each day, but what we do know is going to be a large movement, nothing small. Up today, we're up 2.6%. Again, you want to get excited, but tomorrow we could be down 4%. How do we navigate this?
It's a challenge, Peter, but what I can say is that I think COVID is around for now. A solution will be found. I don't know when it will be found. It will be found. We've dealt with viruses before, we've defeated them, and life has gone on. But it's the first time that the world has had to shut down. So it's a dynamic that most asset managers and investment managers like ourselves haven't had to deal with before. So guys don't understand how to play the market, but we believe in the long-term view that things get better. You should stay invested in the markets. Even if I think there's more questions after COVID, that have to be answered by South Africa as a country from an economic perspective. I think we need to restructure the country, restructure its finances in order to bring back confidence in the market. Otherwise, just, stay at home and have a long-term view in your investments.
Yeah, you say restructure our finances, but I'm reading stories here. Budget deficit could reach World War levels. And this is coming from the Reserve Bank. I mean, I can't even imagine what that means for the ordinary man on the street.
Yeah, we don't want to start talking about that, but I believe that, it's going to get very hard, Peter, before it gets better. We have been downgraded again by Fitch, and I expect that S&P is also going to downgrade us. And I think that the man in the streets is going to feel this the most, particularly the guys who don't have jobs. And the ones who have jobs can't go to bed and not ask themselves if they're going to have a job the next day, Peter. It's going to be very anxious times in the next coming months and for the balance of the year as well.
The COVID-19 is a global pandemic. We get downgraded. Does that mean everybody has seen the same kind of downgrade? I mean, I would imagine that makes more sense.
I think those are coming. You will see even America's growth getting downgraded. You will see some countries that had particularly weak balance sheets like we do. You will see those countries get downgraded by the ratings agencies. It's just that for us, it has been long coming. We are not consistent with our policies. We are not sorting out ESCOM. We still want to hold on to state-owned enterprises. And importantly, we are not showing the world that we are aggressively trying to sort ourselves out from a growth perspective. We have high unemployment. There is no way that any formula used by a ratings agency would keep us in investment grade status. But you know what, Peter? It's creating opportunities for people who are patient, who have a long-term view.
So Donald Trump is battling with his own advisors about lifting the restrictions and the lockdowns that are in place in various states now. He's keen to get the American economy going again as soon as possible. But there are people saying that, hang on, if you lift this too soon, especially with this health problem, it could be a problem for everybody. And I guess that President Ramaphosa is sitting with the same decision on his desk right now. 21 days, do I lift the lockdown or do I keep it going, even though that I know that SMMEs, small businesses, and even large businesses are going to suffer, and some of them perhaps irreparably?
Yes, that's very true. I do think a lot of small businesses are going to shut down, even given the government interventions that have been volunteered out there. I do think it will take a long time for government to disperse some of this cash that people are busy applying for at the moment. And I think particularly from a Donald Trump perspective, we need to take into cognizance that America has got 26% of the world's infection rates through COVID, and America has got 13% of global, fatalities due to COVID. And I think Donald Trump must just calm down, because some of his states actually didn't go through the lockdown period. And I think it's a good question to ask. What does South Africa do in the light of that question? Do we go out and take a chance that people can go back to work and they get infected, and now we have to deal with a bigger pandemic? And at the same time, how long do we keep our economy closed, at the risk of, a worsening GDP? But I think that, in my humble view, we will let the numbers talk. Minister Mkhize has done a good job of leading the country, and the president has given him that mandate to lead us through this, and he'll probably let the numbers talk. We are doing intensive testing at the moment, and I hope that that decision is going to be made based on the results of the current testing that's going on, Peter.
All right, Owen Nkomo, always a pleasure to talk to you. And I can see that you're staying safe at home in your back garden there. Don't move. Just keep watching TV. Thanks so much, Owen.
Absolutely.